Welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt, and this is the BMW iX. It's BMW's first ground-up bespoke EV, and it's packing some of the craziest and wildest features that you've ever seen. So thanks to our friends at International BMW, we're going to cover all of the coolest features here. So let's dive in. This was the first BMW to get iDrive 8, which is this new screen system and new technology stack. And it's awesome. The graphics are super sharp, it's really quick, you can add different widgets like your smartphone, and we'll go over some of the more interesting features as we go through the video. And of course, with this being an EV, there's a huge push and focus on sustainability, so a bunch of your interior materials are recycled. Your door cards are almost made entirely of recycled materials. Your seats are made from 50% recycled polyester. Your floor mats, although they're not in right now, are 100% made of recycled nylon, including fishing nets that were reclaimed from the sea. And your leather is tanned with olive leaves to be more sustainable. And this is a bespoke EV, so you might be thinking that your hood opens for a trunk. The hood actually does not open at all. So you might be thinking, where do you put your windshield washer fluid? Well, right here in your front logo, of course. Pretty wild. And talking of your front logo, let's talk about the rear logo real quick. You can see that you have your reverse camera right here at the bottom. So the center part actually opens up and will spray water to clean it off when it gets nice and dirty, like in the winter, which is apparently half the year here in Wisconsin. But back up to the front to talk about this grille. Now, obviously, it's the new BMW shape, and you can see that you've got graduating gold triangles here, which is kind of an homage to BMW's more recent concept cars, but it's also covered in kind of like a gel type coating. And BMW says if you get a scratch or a ding on your front grille, it will heal itself. You can see little heating elements, or whatever these are, in there. Hopefully that comes through in camera, but the grille will heal itself when exposed to ambient warm temperatures. So on a sunny day like today, the grille will heal itself through some sort of science magic. And I always find it interesting how manufacturers deal with door handles on their EVs. So many people go with a flush system that pops out, but these are actually more door pockets than door handles. So you put your hand in here, it electronically releases, and then it's kind of the same thing on the interior. You've got a little pocket to put your hand here, it's got a nice grab there, and you push this button to release the door electronically. Now, if the battery dies, you do have a fail-safe down here. Interesting way of egress and ingress. And this car is equipped with the Harman Kardon system, which is pretty good, but if you upgrade to the Bowers & Wilkins 4D audio, you will get speakers in your headrest, in your back, and in your seat bottom. And what it does is it adds that fourth dimension, it adds that vibration that you can feel through the seat to immerse you in the music. And there's a couple interesting things going on with the trunk. Of course, it's an electronic powered release, but when you see it open up, the taillights are completely on the rear panel of the trunk. So you have to have these by regulation. So these will light up if you're parked on the road to let cars know that you're parked there. But you can see the trunk, it's pretty big. I will say it's not quite as big as an X5's trunk, but it is still absolutely practical. And you do have these electronic releases to put down your seats, which fold 40, 20, 40. So totally practical. Of course, underneath has a little click, but it's a nice deep trunk back here. And then also, you see you have this, which is your emergency release if you had kidnapped someone. Now, generally, you don't see these on SUVs or hatchbacks, but since your privacy cover is hard, it's also split into two, which is kind of interesting. Since it's hard and mounted kind of into place, you have to have this to make it easier for someone to escape your clutches. Another thing you'll probably notice is this material all on the inside when you open up the panels of the car. And what this is CFRP, or carbon fiber reinforced plastic. And essentially what it's for is added rigidity without adding a bunch of weight. EVs are inherently very heavy. Batteries are very heavy. And BMW, trying to be the ultimate driving machine, of course, they need to keep weight down. So this CFRP material on the body helps keep weight down while keeping rigidity up. And it looks like Spider-Man. then of course we have to talk about EV stuff. Now, dual motor or all-wheel drive or X-drive is standard, but your range is going to be affected by your wheels. These are the smaller 20-inch wheels that get you 324 miles of max range. If you go up to the 22-inch wheels, you're going to eat into your range. This is also built on BMW's 5th gen battery chemistry, which is essentially a fancy way of saying 400 volt architecture. So charging 10 to 80% takes about 35 minutes. It's not too bad, but they're working on their 6th gen battery chemistry right now, so it'll only improve as time goes on, of course, is inherently so with this electric technology. But also just kind of a fun, simple thing. They're spring actuated and they're kind of damped, and it's like really satisfying. I don't really know why, but I like it. But then let's talk about performance. Now, this iX has about 516 horsepower and 564 pound-feet of torque. Again, dual motor, all-wheel drive, means 0 to 60, according to BMW, is about 4.4 seconds. So it's not slow, but the reality is it's even faster than that. It's closer to 4 seconds flat. So it is proper quick. And then one of my favorite things, how could we not talk about this gold accenting here on your door card, your seat controls, your memory seat, and on your dash vents, on your center console here, even on your steering wheel, and of course across your dash as well. And it's even on the rear seat door cards. Again, it's these small details that just kind of put it over the top and make you feel special. This is what it's about, people. Attention to detail. And then, not to be outdone by the gold, you do get crystal for your iDrive wheel. It's touchscreen, of course, but you also have the iDrive wheel. Now, this car actually has the least amount of crystal that you can get. You can upgrade to get your drive selector tab in crystal as well as your volume knob. And it's just really, really cool, very ornate, does feel very special. And then it wouldn't be a downshift video without talking about some pano roof stuff. This one is really cool. Not only does it go the full length of the roof essentially, but it's tinted electrochromically, which is very fitting for the EV nature of this car. And then there's this button right here, which is how you control it. So that's off, lets more light in, and then on, kind of filters it out a little bit. Very cool, helps keep the cabin nice and cool and keeps you from getting sunburned. And then we have to chat about this center console because there's some interesting stuff going on here. Now you can see here, you've got this pass-through and your phone will slot in here and there's little fangs to catch it. But there's a little hole, so there's enough to run a charging cable up. Very thoughtful, love this design. What I love less about it is the fact that you've got your cup holders here. So if you've got a tall water bottle that comes out here, you will hit the overhang. Now that'd be a pretty tall water bottle, but just something to note. And then you also have a wireless charging pad here, and then you've got all of this open space across the front, which makes the cabin just feel really, really spacious and airy and comfortable and luxe and other words that are good. Now these cars also have the iconic sounds that are composed by Hans Zimmer, you know, the guy that did Interstellar and a bunch of the best movies you've ever seen. Well, he designed the sound for this car, and you get a really cool startup sound. Foot on the brake. Pretty cool. And then turn off. Just kind of an inverse version of it. And of course you get really cool sounds when you accelerate hard. It sounds like the THX thing before the movies that you would watch as a kid. And then we'll talk 360 cameras. Look at the resolution here. You've got different camera views that you can choose from. My favorite is the 3D view. The car is of course color matched. You can use your gesture control, but it's not gonna work because I have my camera in front of me. But you can also just pick different angles of the car. The wheels are different, but the color is the same. And then also you've got backup assistant, which is kind of that reverse assist breadcrumbs, where it tracks what course you took to get in, and then it will drive itself how you got in if you're in a tight spot or came in a weird way and you're worried about reversing on your own. You also can option massage seats, but interestingly, it's just for the driver. It's not for the passenger. And then of course we'll check out the rear seats. They're huge. Like I said, the trunk is a little smaller than the X5, but they've prioritized the rear cabin area, and they are massive. Really nice leathers, very comfortable. We've got our little iPad docking station with convenient charger in here so you can keep it charged. You've also got your individual climate zone back here and vents, as well as you can option a heated seat back here. So I'll pop in behind where I would sit. I've got miles of knee room and that nice electrochromic sunroof, letting enough light in to keep it nice and airy in here, but not making it too hot. And this is another thoughtful little touch. On the passenger side here, you get this integrated phone pocket. It's rubberized, so you can stick your phone in there. It's not gonna jiggle around and bother you. So the driver can put their phone here, but the passenger has a nice place to put their phone as well. Very thoughtful, BMW. Well done. And let's take a minute to just appreciate this paint. This is really, really nice. Look at the spec. Look at the metal flake in there. And then you've also got this blacked out D-pillar with the iX logo embossed into it. If you weren't paying super close attention, you might miss it, but it's there. And then the rear design, it's pretty simple, just simple bar tail lights, but in your rear diffuser area, you've got these humps over what would suggest exhaust. Now, obviously there is no exhaust because it's an electric vehicle, and it's a bespoke, ground-up electric vehicle. And then we'll chat wheels, and I know we mentioned this earlier, but these are the 20-inch wheels. They're kind of a nice two-tone, black and silver, along with the blue BMW logo for your center and blue brakes popping out from behind. The 20-inch wheel is going to be your max range wheel, and you can select a 22-inch if you prefer the look of those, but just be prepared for the sacrifice you'll make in range. And lastly, we'll talk price. These iXs for 2024 start at $87,000, as opposed to the Mercedes-Benz EQE, which is about $89,500 to start, so another $2,500 more. And in typical Audi fashion, the Q8 e-tron is cheaper for each of the trims, except for the fully loaded first edition trim. And if you want to go the Tesla route, you're going to spend $11,000 more from the jump. So that's the 26 most interesting things about the BMW iX. Again, thanks to our friends at International BMW for letting us have a go in their iX so we could show you this stuff. And make sure you stay tuned and subscribe, because next week we're going to do our full review with the best and the rest. Thanks, and we'll see you then.